dead set.
Hey, we're going into the fur shed. Hey everybody, this is Joel Martz.
How are you?
He's a Northern Dutchess County trapper, and he's the owner of Northern Dutchess Wildlife Control. So Joel invited me into his shed, and we're gonna take a look around and talk about trapping and his history of trapping. What do you got going on in the dryer?
Got is I have an old dryer that I took the heat element out of.
Oh, okay.
And I hooked it up. Instead of 220, it's 120. And basically, it's a poor man's fur tumbler.
Nice. Okay.
So I've got it in there with some hardwood sawdust, and I've got 2 bobcats in there. I washed them before and tumbling them to dry them out and fluff them up.
So right after you skin them, you wash them, or
yeah. Before I even flesh them or anything like that, I wash them to get all the blood and all the dirt out of them. And then I throw them into the tumbler to, dry them, clean them the rest of the way, and fluff them up nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, okay, I haven't done any of that.
I mean, you know how dirty coyotes get, or even fox. I mean, but
Yeah.
I mean, that really fluffs them and cleans them up nice.
Yeah.
I ain't even combed these yet.
Yeah, those ones you haven't cleaned?
No, I haven't combed anything.
Combed them, I see. Yeah.
So, I'll show you what they look like. I mean, you can see what this guy is. He's pretty wet, but he'll clean up nice.
And when you wash them, are you doing it just by hand?
No, I just put them in a 5-gallon bucket, and I just let the water, dissolve the blood. And,
Any detergent or anything, or just?
You could put a little bit of maybe fabric softener or something in there that kind of brightens them up a little bit.
Yeah.
But sometimes if they're really bad, I just put a little borax in there.
Oh, right in with the water.
In with the water.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Boy, that guy's really gray, huh? Black and gray. That's not so typical of our area. Usually they're red over here.
A lot of our coyotes around here are red coyotes.
Yeah.
And they're not really worth nothing on the fur market. They're more novelty than anything. There's not enough of them that it pays for them to buy them.
Yeah.
And if you're the best thing to do is if you can send them out to a tannery.
Yeah.
You have them tanned and sell them as novelty.
Yeah. So, I'm warning you, I'm Mr. Questions.
I don't care. I don't mind answering questions.
One of the things that I'd like to ask you is, when did you start trapping? How long have you been trapping?
I'm almost 58 years old, and I started trapping when I was 14.
Oh, okay. And is that right here in New York State?
Yeah, I grew up in Rhinebeck. My grandfather is actually the one that got me started in trapping. Cool. We trapped rabbits and stuff in the backyard.
For the calls on animal damage, which animal are you most
in this area? Beavers.
Oh yeah.
I do a lot of beaver work.
Yeah.
And woodchucks and beavers seem to be my two.
Well, cool. Don't let me slow you down on what you're doing there. Joel invited me down and said, hey, he's going to be putting some furs up, so show me what he's doing. So there's a tumbled bobcat. That one's skinned out with the feet and everything.
Yeah, it's got the feet and everything. Now I'm gonna flesh it, but as you can see, I mean, he's nice and clean. And,
Yep.
A lot of fat on them this year.
Yeah, I had a couple of mine
why they're not so hungry this year. A lot of rabbits around.
Yeah, I'm seeing tons of rabbit tracks.
Oh, rabbits everywhere. I mean, even this summer they were all over, and that's not in the summertime. Like if I see a road-killed rabbit, I pick them up because this time of year that's basically what they're eating.
Yeah, that's a good bait right there. Yep. I had a rabbit caught in a trap and it was gone by morning. Just had a foot.
Trapping's like Christmas. You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. It's a surprise every morning.
Surprise every day.
Yep. Joel is, I think he's a fan of Trapper Snore. He likes to watch the episodes. And you know that on Trapper Snore, we're trying to support sustainable, natural, organic, renewable resource. And we share things about trapping so that people can get into it So if I'm asking about any secrets, feel free to hold back. But how did you catch this bobcat?
So I caught this. I have a set. I know you like cubbies.
Yep. Well, I'm changing a little.
But I actually use a set that is kind of used in the North Country once things get really frozen up and hard. What I do is I dig a big. It's a big dirt hole set, is what it is.
Right.
So what I do is I dig a big dirt hole, about like that, about that deep.
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah. And then what
It's
I
like
do.
a foot and a half.
Oh yeah. And then what I do is I put a shelf in there. So what I do is at the beginning of that, where that dirt hole comes up and meets the ground, I dig it down about that far.
Yeah, so it's like a step down.
So it's like a step down.
Yeah.
So what it is when the bobcat comes in there, he wants to get down to that bait, but that bait's way down in that hole.
Yeah.
And what he does is he'll step down into that. I've tried cubbies and all. I mean, and they work to a certain extent, but it's just when you got all that fresh dirt, and I kind of line the edges with leaves and stuff. So
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot
of
eye
attraction.
appeal there.
Yeah.
But the thing is like I said, if they want to get down into that hole to get that bait,
yeah,
they got to step on that.
There's
on
no
that
way
lip.
to go. Yeah. And so, what about? So you get these ready?
And I blind set for them too.
Okay.
If I can find, like with the snow and stuff, if I know that they're using a trail or whatever,
yeah,
I'll make a blind set with a walk through.
Yep. I'll let them catch them that way.
A little squirt of urine on one side, a little on the other.
Yep. And
that's
do
pretty
like a
much
step over and just try to guide them right to the trap? Or?
Yeah, you sticks just like everybody else does.
Yeah. So in terms of the step down, do you dig those pre-seasons? Because obviously you can't dig a foot and a half
Well, I'll
deep
tell you
hole
what,
now.
right now there's only a couple inches of frost in the ground. So I take a pickaxe with me.
Oh, gotcha.
And I break the top, and then I can dig down, because, most of this stuff around here is all clay, so.
Yep. What about that shelf? Are you using wax dirt or anything?
I'm using peat moss and wax dirt.
Gotcha.
And I use a little calcium chloride on the bottom, because what happens is you get moisture that comes up through that no matter what.
Right.
Okay? Especially during the day if you got the
warm temperature. Yeah.
And that will snap your traps. So a lot of times you walk up to your trap set and it's like it's sprung off in this cold weather, and you're like, what did that? It's the
freeze thaw.
Freeze thaw of the of the ground. So
wow. So a little calcium chloride.
Yeah, a little calcium chloride.
So it looks like you have a necker.
Yeah, I got two different. This is a 600.
Yeah.
I got a bigger one that's right above your head there, which is a 700.
Oh yeah.
So
almost came down on me.
Like on coyotes and mostly beavers. This is usually the roughest part of the whole thing, is the neck area.
Yep. Are you using the sharp side or the?
No, I'm using the dull side. I'm just pushing.
Yeah.
There's not enough fat in that back area.
Yeah.
Up in this neck area to shave. I mean, I could shave, but I tend to,
It's easier for you to just put the muscle
well,
into
you got more of a chance to cut it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These things are brutal sharp, so.
Yeah.
So.
I pushed mine right into my beam. It's like, what the heck?
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
This is an interchangeable beam. I got 3 different beams.
Oh, gotcha. Yep.
I got a big one right there.
Yeah, big wide one for coons and stuff.
I use that for coyotes mostly and beavers.
Gotcha.
And then I do like muskrats and bobcats and fox and all that on this one. Then I got a little tiny one right there, which I do mink on.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
yep. I saw some guys now are using PVC beams.
Yeah, I never tried them, but a lot of guys use them, and I mean, anything will work.
Yeah.
It's just what works for you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like,
I didn't know anything about beams when I bought mine from a craftsman up at the trapping convention.
Yeah.
And I just like it because it's mine.
right. But you know something? It's like, out of all of these 3 beams right here, this is the one I like the most.
Yeah. And that's
And I made this one.
Yeah, that's like
It's made out
6-7
of
inch.
black walnut.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know why it's, why I like it, but I take the gloves a lot of times and I put it on there because then that'll hold the
and this is what you're talking about. Like, that's a lot of fat for a bobcat.
that's a lot of fat.
That's like a raccoon fat pocket.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's just, you don't have to get crazy about trying to, putting a lot of pressure to get it off. But if you can, a lot of guys push too hard and then they put holes in it,
Yeah. So, what traps do you have out right now?
I just have bobcat traps out right now. I don't have any. My water season's kind of messed up because I don't really want to. I don't want to trap through the ice.
Yeah. So.
And the creeks are pretty much so. I got all springtime to trap beavers.
Yeah.
So I'll hit them hard and heavy.
What's your preferred beaver set? Conibears or footholds?
So I have a little method that I use. Being that I do a lot of nuisance work.
Oh, yeah.
And beavers get smart real quick.
Yeah.
So I'm cable restraint certified.
Right.
So I can also use
everybody
those.
in New York State, you can, if you have a nuisance control permit, you can also take an extra test and get a cable restraint permit only for beaver, right?
Yeah, only for
animal.
beavers, and it's only on nuisance. I start out with conibears, different sets, caster sets and blind set, whatever. Once they start avoiding them, then I go to footholds, caster mounds with different smells. Like I may use 3 different casters at one caster mound. Not at the same time, but
over time.
Because last night Johnny Joe got caught, and Earl, his neighbor there, seen him get caught, and he knows that there's something wrong with that. So if I change the smell up, it seems to work.
Get them more curious. Yep.
Yeah. When you get down to the real nitty gritty, and you really got one that's like outsmarting you, sack oil.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sack oil is like the last ditch effort as far as like caster mount stuff.
Yeah.
What works good too is just kick a little tiny hole in the beaver dam. If you can, a lot of times you'll get a nuisance permit where you can set the dam.
Where you can do that, yeah.
And you'll kick a hole in the dam and you set I use MB 750s.
Yeah.
And I'll set that right there in that break. And they can't,
They just want to fix it.
They want to fix it, so,
and just
little offset.
For us New York folks too, like Joel was saying, that's a nuisance permit situation. We can't break the dam and we can't trap on the dam as fur trappers, but if he has a nuisance permit, he can.
Right. You can trap on a dam as long as there's an open otter season.
Right.
But if the otter season, once we get to February 28th, then you go back to trigger regulations.
Yeah.
And you got to go. You got to stay, 15 feet away from the.
Yeah, I got that confused too with the lodge. We can't trap on the lodge.
No, you can't
15
trap
feet
on
from
15
the lodge.
feet.
Yeah.
So, some of the permits are very, very general, and then there's municipalities and stuff that get all the bells and whistles.
Oh yeah. They're just like
whatever it takes.
They're clogging up a culvert, or they're taking all the trees down in the public park.
If you have a good rapport with the wildlife biologist too, that helps too.
Yeah. So right now you have bobcat sets out and no other predators right now.
No, not really. They're into their mating season now.
Yeah.
A lot of the animals, the predators. I mean, the fur buyers want the most. They want the nicest stuff there is right now.
Yeah.
So the coyotes this time of year, because they're mating, or the fox or whatever, they start rubbing.
Yeah.
Full fox got nice thick necks on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you get to this time of year, they start rubbing, just like any other, like coon rub and all that.
Yeah.
And you'll start getting bald spots and you know, spots where they're losing hair and that.
Right.
That downgrades your fur. So the fur quality is not like it is in November and December.
Right. Bobcats though are staying good.
Oh, they're right now this is the best time of year to catch bobcats if you want like, you know, pelt quality. If we had a later Fisher season, Fisher would be in the same. It starts too early too.
Yeah, way too early. Yep.
And it's like this. I mean, the wildlife biologist asked me, she says, why don't you trap Fisher? I said, I would trap Fisher if I could trap them when it's worth something.
Yeah.
Because you take our Fisher, you send it to the international auction up in Canada, and it's so flat because it's so early. It's downgraded so bad. You know?
It's interesting. I wonder why they make it early like that. If they just don't know.
No, they know. They've done a lot of studies, and I think what it is the population.
Look at the fat on this thing.
Oh yeah,
jeez.
So yeah, that's been eating good. So I you know, I don't know what all their reasoning is. I mean, it's like years ago they shut down the otter season in the western part of the state because there was no otters over there, and they reintroduced them.
Yeah.
Now they have more otters out there than we have here, but they don't have an open season.
Yeah, that's
you know?
that's like the lynx situation up in Maine.
Right.
And they have a lot of lynx up there, but they can't trap them.
But they can't trap them,
And
it takes them forever and a day to do a study.
Yeah, and they have to do a lot of modifications in order to
trap
not
them.
get them.
So they don't get them. Right.
Yeah.
So this bobcat's fat.
You're gonna put this one up skin side out, and is that generally just one night for you?
No, I don't put it. I borax all my stuff.
Oh, and you're gonna put it skin side in right away?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't flip them.
I see.
Borax everything.
Got you.
Fur buyers, they don't. It doesn't matter to them.
But when it comes down to it, it's what your buyer wants, right?
Exactly. And you know, I'm friends with my fur buyer. So, and I got talking because I just got a shipment of canned fur down the other day, and it's like we were talking about stuff, and I said, you know, John, I says, if I was doing taxidermy work, I said I would just flush it and salt it and send it to the taxidermy, you know, or to the tanner. And he's like, yeah. I says, we do all this work to make it look good for the buyer. Right.
Exactly.
I said, you know, you're not going to be able to tell what this is going to look like after it comes through from the tanner.
Yeah.
What the trapper does, I said, all the work is for, you know, the presentation of fur.
Joel was just saying about the fur, like, at least what I understand, as soon as that animal is dead, then the bacteria that was basically holding it where it is now reversing, and it's working on breaking it down. And that fur will start to slip more and more out of that hide as that bacteria gets to work.
Well, the first thing that gets to work on, and especially on like the canines and that, is green belly. And green belly gets going real quick. Green belly, if you skin it out fast enough and you get it in the freezer or whatever to stop that bacteria, it's not too bad. But you know, if you had 25 coyotes to skin or something like that, and it's warm,
it's taking you time.
Then that whole belly will slip, you know, at some point. You know, because the bacteria.
And like what you were saying about the fur, sometimes you're not going to know how bad the damage is until after it's tanned.
It comes back.
Yeah, because I've heard of guys go like, "Oh, my fur looked beautiful, and it came back like crap."
Well,
You know, that could have been some conditions that were, you know, out of control before it got tanned.
And that's
moisture, temperature.
I learned something the other day that I didn't realize it, but like I said, I was talking to my friend there, and you know, if you dispatch a coyote, you got a little bit of blood on the skin, you know, around where that entry mark is.
Yeah.
If you don't clean that out, it doesn't look like anything to us when we're doing it, but when you send it to the tannery, that hair will fall out all around the entry.
Yeah.
I guess the bacteria, like you say, you know, it's working
at the
right
injury,
there, right at the, you know.
So when you, when talking about dispatching, how do you dispatch bobcats?
I shoot my bobcats. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can do it with a catch pole.
Yeah.
Because bobcats have that carotid artery in their neck, and once you cut the blood circulation off to that, they basically pass on pretty quick.
Really quick, yeah.
But I like to save the urine and all that. If you use a catch pole on them, they'll relax and they'll bleed out their bladder. If you shoot them, well, you save all that urine. You know what I mean? And that's nothing better than local stuff. You learn by talking to other trappers and people that are lure makers and all that.
Yeah, that's what I love about this. There's so much to learn from so many people, and it's with 16
and everybody
different.
has their own style. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You end up learning from what you do, what you put into action,
right.
And then those start to become your habits. Like you get corrected by the animal, by the mistakes you make and the things you learn in the field.
And if you want to see what mistakes you're making, go out after a snowfall.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the cameras too. The
cameras too. But I mean, a snowfall really tell the story.
Yeah.
You walk out there now, and it's like you look at the canine tracks. It's like holy mackerel! There's thousands of them around.
Could be two.
Could be two. But
yeah. One of the things that I was talking about in the last Trapper Snore episode was the lure thing.
Yeah.
And I've watched a lot of demos, where guys will say, lure once and never lure again. That's going to be there all season. And then I'm watching my close cameras on some sets in the woods.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the mice. And I'm like, why is that mouse in that spot every single night? And then I realize he's
eating
actually,
lure.
Yep.
Yep.
And I'm like, you know what? That's a whole different story. And then I'm going to re-lure if I see that happen.
You got to figure.
Yeah.
They got to survive out there. Their smell is 100 times greater than what ours is.
Yeah.
And
let me just hold it right there. Another thing that Joel's talking about has been a big sort of paradigm in trapping is that years ago everybody was like doing scent control.
Whoa.
And now people don't because they're like, you can't.
well,
right? You're exfoliating.
It's not even that. I mean, I've had the privilege of trapping down here, and I've had the privilege of trapping in the Adirondacks because I have a house up there.
Mm-hmm.
I will say canines up there react a whole lot different to sets up there than they do down here.
Interesting.
But you take your trapping grounds. You got people all over the place.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm the same way. I am.
Yeah.
So are coyotes or fox and all that, are they really afraid of our scent? Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, to a certain extent they may, up in the mountains where they don't come in contact with humans.
Right. They're like, this is
And
all something
this is they're a lot different down here. So scent control is not as critical. I mean, how many guys you see they're setting traps and they're barehanded, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I did that this week because I forgot my gloves.
Yeah, well.
Yep.
And then I push all that off and then I work my way up towards the head.
Gotcha.
Because when you got to push all that fat down there, it really...
Yeah, that's a good tip for me because I have been starting at the top and then working down. So you're saying you work at the bottom or the middle?
Like middle.
Yeah.
And then I just, keep working. I work my way down and then work my way back up. But...
Yep, so you asked me a question before and I had to do a camera move. So I, right now I have 5 bobcats.
Okay.
And I'm trying, obviously I'm going to keep going for the next couple weeks and see what else I can do.
I don't start trapping bobcats until after deer season.
Yeah.
Me
too, pretty much. I got one early.
Yeah.
It was on like a canine set.
Right, and that's a lot of them get caught that way. I can sell these. I don't know what I'll get for them this year, but I usually average about $100 for a bobcat.
Yeah.
Nothing's worse than when you go and get a nice bobcat, and it's either stolen, or somebody shoots it on you. Thinking they're doing you a favor. There's a 12-gauge slug hole in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did that ever happen to you?
It has happened, and I'll tell you what I find too. Probably, I don't know. I probably had maybe 4 or 5 of them now that have been shot like during bow season.
Really?
And whenever they shoot them during bow season, they always catch them in the hindquarters.
Yeah.
Because they jump the arrow.
Yeah.
Yep. And then it's it's all
bad.
affected.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah.
So, but it is what it is.
Now's the time for us to get them.
But it's good because you spend a lot of time making these sets and doing whatever. There's not a lot of people in the woods. It's quiet. It's natural.
Yeah.
For me, it's just a better time of year to catch these things because the other part of it is people think these are endangered species and that there's none around, and if you catch one and they see one,
right.
Yeah,
no, we have a very healthy population.
They're a very healthy population. Very. So.
Do you get to go trapping up in the Adirondack still?
I do. Yeah. I went up last year. I was up there 2 days. I caught 5 beaver and an otter. That was the last time I've been up there trapping. I was going to go up there this fall.
Yeah.
And then I had a cow that calved, and she was producing so much milk that
I had to stay around.
So but you know what? I'm retired now, so I don't know. I really want to get up there to trap marten.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Huh?
I really want to trap marten. I've caught just about everything there is to catch as far as fur bearers.
Yeah.
But I never caught a marten.
Yeah, so that'd be cool.
So I've got the opportunity. I know they're up there.
Right.
I've seen them while I've been up there hunting. It's just...
And they have an open season for them.
Yeah, and, I would love to just go up there and, spend a couple weeks and catch 1 or 2 of them,
Yeah, I just... I watch a few different YouTube channels myself, and I've been watching Montana
Wolf Trapper, Paul.
Yeah, Paul, and he got the most martens he ever got in his life this season, and had a...
So I'll tell you a funny story about Paul. So 2 years ago, I went down to the Southeast Regional with my buddy Vaughn, who now has passed away. He had cancer.
Oh, sorry.
That was my trapping partner.
Oh.
And him and me, we've been all over this country.
Trapping conventions.
NTAs and all that. So I went down to the Fur Takers. There's a group down there. They're called the Tennessee Outlaw Trappers.
Uh-huh.
And they're out of eastern Tennessee. Well, Paul lived there with them guys.
Uh-huh.
So he's friends with them. So I'm down there. I know these guys. I'm hanging out with them, and guess who's hanging out with us? Montana Wolf Trapper.
Oh, jeez.
He is an amazing person.
Yeah, he seems pretty cool.
Oh my God, he's a real nice guy,
Yeah.
And we talked for quite a bit, and but his closest neighbor is 8 miles away.
Oh yeah, out in Montana.
I mean, he lives out in nowhere, but
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he left Tennessee. He's originally from out mid country somewhere. I don't know if it's Michigan or Wisconsin or somewhere out there, but he was in Tennessee, and then he left Tennessee and went to Montana.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, them wolves are very hard to trap.
So definitely a lesson.
Oh yeah.
So you have the feed on your bobcats.
Yeah.
And that's because your fur buyer wants them that way.
Yeah, I get a little bit more money with the feed on them. He has them tanned.
Yep.
And then he sells them.
You ever bother taking the cartilage out of the ears and stuff like that?
I'm going to do that as soon as I get done.
Ah, gotcha.
Yep.
I did it once, and I was like, I don't know if it's worth doing it. But
Yeah, it's kind of.
it depends on if your buyer wants it that way too.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, but I just, because he has them tanned, is less likely to be slipping. You know,
right, if you
trying to
take
get
care
them
of
to
that.
dry.
I know you want to get to marten trapping to sort of complete having caught everything that you can. What is the animal you like trapping the most?
Beavers.
Yeah, you like it.
I love beavers.
It's like it's your job, but you love it.
I love it.
So
you know, it's I don't know. It's just I like beavers. They do a lot of good things for you know, habitat and all that.
Yeah.
But when they get in the wrong place, they make a mess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they don't know they're in the wrong place. They're just doing their thing.
You know, if there's a beaver swamp out in the middle, you know, the forest out there, and them beavers aren't bothering anybody, they can stay there. Because that's a breeding territory.
Yeah, yep.
And then they go down to Uncle Mike's yard and make a mess, and then they call me.
One of the things that surprised me is how much they actually move around from different lodging places.
Oh, yeah. No, they...
I thought they were gone, and then, no, they were just off somewhere else, and 5 days later they were back, you know.
Right. They're an amazing animal. And I always tell people they're easy to catch until they get educated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then it's game on.
Yeah.
And I had a beaver last spring. Took me a month and a half to catch that beaver. I caught all the
youngsters.
The youngsters and the male.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, like within 3 days.
Yeah.
Month and a half to catch the female.
Wow.
And how I did it was, I couldn't drown her because it was just like a little mud hole swamp in this lady's backyard.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I had no place to drown. Wouldn't go near 330. Wouldn't go near Castor Mound. But there was a spot that every so often that she would come out, go up, and she was eating ash
branches.
saplings.
Oh, yeah.
Ash saplings.
Yeah.
What I did was I put an MB 750 on 10 foot of chain.
Yeah.
And I took that chain and I anchored it down. And where she was coming out, I offset a MB 750.
Yeah. You bedded it.
Yeah. But I couldn't go nowhere near it because if she smelt my scent, she wouldn't.
Oh my gosh.
She wouldn't go up in there.
Yeah.
So down about this far down that chain, guess what I did? I put a stick up on the chain. So that when that trap was moved, that stick wouldn't be there no more. So I could check it from
distance.
The distance through the binoculars.
Yep.
And I didn't have to go near. And it took me.
I watched a guy out west does that with snares.
It took me 6 days to catch her like that.
Oh wow.
Before she came up out of that.
Jeez.
I mean, oh my God, did she?
You know what I call that? I call that coyoteing the beaver. Because the beaver is spooked like a coyote would be, and they just smarten up. And
just remember one thing: fox reads a book, coyote reads the fine print.
Yeah.
And a female beaver is even smarter and harder to catch once they've been educated than a coyote.
Yep, you said it. Yep.
You know, back in the day, I mean, when I started trapping, it was fur boom time, and I asked John one day. I said, "How'd you catch that fox in a trap?"
Yeah.
Really? What'd you use? Just some stink, some bait, whatever. I mean, nobody. I mean, back then it was zip lip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I grew up in.
Yeah, I think some trappers probably think my YouTube channel's kind of crazy because I basically tell everybody everything, whatever I'm doing. I figure there's no harm.
It doesn't matter nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm like, I'll make some mistakes and some people think it's crazy and
everybody makes
it's
mistakes.
My time and it's my experience. So
everybody makes mistakes. But the good trappers are the ones that learn from their mistakes. You know what I mean?
Yep. So what are you doing here?
I'm going to do the cartilage.
Oh, okay.
I stick my ears.
All right. Your vice grip's just to hold the pelt.
Yeah, it's just I pull that ball out of there. See? And then basically you just work that up.
Yeah.
But you just got to be easy with it.
So you don't
don't tear the ear.
Yeah.
You cut that ball and it'll.
The ball is at the base.
Yeah, the ball is at
Yep.
this, this mess, but then sometimes you get some fragments that you got to take off. Every section of the country has its own fur specialty.
Yeah, right.
Here we got muskrats and we got beaver.
Yeah.
You go out to central, United States, Iowa, all that, it's coon and mink.
Yes. Yeah.
You get out west, coyotes, bobcats, stuff like that. I've seen western bobcats go for $1,200-$1,400.
Yeah, for one.
For one. So if you had 6 of them in a jacket and they paid, $1,000 a piece.
Yeah.
You could understand that,
The uses of natural fur like this it's just unbelievable. I'm just so surprised how, as human beings, we fell away from it.
Think of this. So it takes 36 volatile chemicals, 36 volatile chemicals to make faux fur.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes 110 years for faux fur to start rotting down in a landfill.
Yep.
Natural fur, no chemicals, all natural, renewable, and within 2 weeks, if it was thrown in a landfill, would be disintegrated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And no petroleum.
Yep. And that's not even talking about the quality properties of how you would use it. And
right.
Like
but
like faux fur feels terrible, it looks terrible, and it doesn't keep you warm.
Mother Nature, you can't copy it.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, when this thing is all tanned and put together and you feel that, I mean, it's just like velvet, to me.
Yep.
So.
And it's a healthy population. It's renewable.
We have a lot of guys trapping.
Yeah, you know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Joel was telling me of a couple other people, at least one other guy right around you and I.
And, that's good because it helps keep the populations around here healthy. I mean, nobody really traps down there on the river, down in Tivoli Bays, because it's very difficult to trap tidal water.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of beavers down there in Tivoli Bays.
Yeah.
And
I got 8 of them 2 years ago.
Did you?
Yep.
Yeah. Out of the
forest,
marsh,
just above the marsh.
Up in the woods.
Up in the woods, yeah.
Yeah, no, I know where you're talking about up in there. It's difficult because you gotta tie it, time it with the tides and all that. So there's some big beaver colonies in there.
Yeah.
Well, last year they had a rabid beaver in there.
I saw that in the news. Yeah, attacked a guy on a float board.
Yeah, and that's what happens. You know, Mother Nature takes care of.
Yeah, because there's just too many.
Too many down there, and I imagine that there was, that wasn't the only one.
Right.
Well, I might be here a while tonight.
Well, it's been super nice to be invited to your fur shed.
Yeah,
Joel.
no, I'm glad. I mean, not too many people actually have the courage to come here.
Yeah, and Joel's been over to my newer fur shed, and that's been nice to have you come visit. So
now I can tell when you're in there because I see the smoke coming out of the chimney.
Yeah, well, sometimes I'm heating it up before I head out on the line, so when I get back, I can work in there and see you got your.
Got to be a little
wood
cold
stove.
on the 4-wheeler the last about a week or so, ain't it?
I think it was like 20 below wind chill, man. My fingers were frozen.
I got a pair of beaver mitts that I made, and I'll tell you what, they're the warmest gloves I've ever owned in my life.
Oh, nice, yeah.
So
I used to have a set that were military issue.
Yeah.
That my dad got in the Army, and oh my gosh, those things would warm your hands up in no matter what conditions.
Right.
Yeah. So you got a nice pile of fur here, and you're selling everything to your buyer, or you're doing some to Groenwald, or?
No, I'm not. The only thing I will do is once I get into the spring beavers, because I do them on Nuisance.
Yeah.
I will sell them to Groenwald because I don't want to be trapping like a wild man.
Yeah.
And trying to put fur up.
Right, because you can sell them green.
Right, I can sell them green.
Just
my fur buyer won't buy them green, so.
Gotcha. Well, that works out.
Yeah, and if he wants to buy them green, I'm more than happy to sell it to him.
Yeah, they want them for the Hatter market. So, yeah.
So these all could be Hatter beaver. You know what I mean? And some of them are. a couple of them are from last year, and they got bite marks in them from other beavers. But this is, I mean, that's not a bad beaver right there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
They all got to be combed out.
Yeah.
Cleaned up. But
We got to meet Joel here, and that was super cool to be able to see what you do here in your fur shed, and you're a wealth of knowledge about trapping. I hope we can talk again sometime.
Sure.
Joel found me on his radar, and it's like, hey, there's another trapper. We live a mile and 1.2. Yeah.
Say a mile and a half apart.
Yep. We just live down
And,
the road.
and you know, the thing is this is a dying thing, and there's not people that are, you know, have the same interests as what we do. And it's like, how do you talk to somebody?
Yeah.
You know, you go out and you're at a social event, and it's like, oh yeah, well, you know, I caught 3 bobcats today, a coyote, and this, that, and the other thing, and they look at you like they're mortified. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I know.
You know,
my family's very used to me now. They're like, yep, I talk about trapping, but that's also why we like to get together, because trappers like to share and talk, and you know,
exactly.
So we're like-minded. And
people are like, oh, you know, it's a sport. It's a sport. No, it's not a sport. It's a lifestyle.
yeah,
This is a lifestyle.
yeah, this is
Because there's so much that goes into it.
yeah.
And like you say, like when you go to a rendezvous or you go to a convention or something like that, you're not talking about, hey, how did the Chiefs do last night? You're talking about, oh, you know what, this critter, that critter, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's share knowledge.
Yeah.
And it's
so I've been an outdoorsman my entire life. When I was 9 years old, I couldn't wait till I turned 10, because that's when I could take my hunter safety course in Vermont. And my family were not hunters. I was just born that way, and I was like, I got to do this. But I'll tell you right now, I've never had any experience like trapping. Like, that's why I'm so addicted to it now, because you're out there every single day. It's more intimate with nature, with the animals, and the challenges. It's super addictive.
Growing up on a farm my whole life, pretty much. I mean, deer hunting was like the big thing.
Yep.
Well, you can only shoot just so many deer. There needs to be a lot of knowledge for deer hunting, but there's 10 times more knowledge that needs to be had to be a trapper.
Yeah, I almost disagree with you. I feel like since being a hunter, I feel like it's 100 times more. Like when you consider all the different animals, their seasons and their habitats, and handling fur and everything that's a part of it.
I always tell everybody, this part of what I do right here, this is the work problem. This is where the work ethic kicks in.
Yeah.
But when you take something and you skin it out and you flesh it and you prepare it for the fur buyer, I mean, I don't think there's any more sense of pride than when you go to the fur buyer and he says you did a nice job of putting that fur up. It looks really nice and stuff like that, because that's all you.
Yep. And that's what's happening now, folks, like for us trappers, because we're in that part of the season where the fur's here, and now you're in the shed working with it, and take a lot of pride in doing that, and it's healthy work.
Yeah.
Well, do you snore?
I snore.
Trappers snore.
Yep.
You know
I snore loudly.
What's it stand for?
Sustainable, natural, organic, renewable resource.
Awesome. Thanks, man. It's been good to be here. Take care. I'll talk to you later.
All right.